Our topic is about the contemporary foreign and economic policies of Mexico and South Korea. The contemporary foreign policy of Mexican government is transparent, humanitarian, and effective. The government of Mexico is noteworthy for its political and diplomatic congruence during the first year of the current administration. From the start, President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador said he would focus on the South, protect Mexicans abroad, work for transparent diplomacy, and strengthen Mexico's role in human rights in the multilateral agenda. Over the course of the year, the Foreign Ministry has coordinated the foreign and implementation of the Comprehensive Development Plan. In addition, Mexico plays an international role that allows it to take advantage of two great opportunities. First is to reaffirm its diplomatic leadership on various global challenges, and second, to invite the international community to accompany the government's effort to boost development and protect human rights. Mexico has launched a diplomatic strategy to resume its leadership in Latin America, a foreign policy priority. Mexico's role is based on the constitutional principles and their historical tradition of non-interventionism, as well as on a desire for international dialogue and cooperation. Based on the relationship between Mexico and United States, they have attained a commitment from their northern neighbor to boost economic development in southern Mexico and northern Central America. The Foreign Ministry reaffirms its commitment to base its foreign policy on the principles of human rights, sovereignty, and effective and transparent diplomacy.
Economic policies of Mexico. Mexico has the OECD's lowest tax to GDP ratio. For decades, the country's low fiscal capacity was mitigated by oil revenues. 2014 tax reform aimed to reduce the country's dependency on oil revenues by cutting expenditures and non-raising non-oil revenues. The public debt anticipated in the reform, however, assumed an ambitious GDP growth rate, which did not materialize. Furthermore, the government assumed that an increase in oil price would compensate for any revenues not collected. While this was a reasonable assumption at the time of reform, it did not accomplish the goal of increasing fiscal autonomy from oil revenue. Nevertheless, the debt to GDP ratio decreased slowly from 56.76% in 2016 to 53.57% of GDP in 2018.
With its new president confronting numerous challenges, Mexico falls into the bottom ranks, internationally ranked 36. The new trade agreement USMCA with the US and Canada will require major adjustment, particularly in the critical auto sector. Unemployment rates are low at around 3.5%, but average pay is the OECD, or the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. A reform strengthening workers' rights and democratizing workers' organization was initiated as a part of the USMCA. The USMCA would update the North American Free Trade Agreement. The USMCA continues North American Free Trade Agreement's benefits while also opening up new markets for American farmers to sell their goods. The USMCA also includes new protection for patents, copyrights, and trademarks.
Contemporary foreign policy of Korea. Today, this focus remains a fixture of South Korean foreign policy due to the influence this country continued to have over inter-Korean peace, regional stability, and South Korean economy. South Korea is a member of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC) and the Asia-Pacific Trade Agreement (APTA).
Economic policies of South Korea. South Korea has a mixed economic system which includes a variety of private freedom combined with centralized economic planning and government regulation. So the government of South Korea is focusing on job creation and welfare expansion. In August 2019, South Korea posted its lowest unemployment rate since November 2013, with the figure falling just 3.1% from 4.1% in August 2018. The next is growth rates in South Korea have been moderated and stable in recent years. The rate declined to 2.7% in 2018. Current account surpluses had been high. The central bank supported the fiscal expansion with interest rate cuts. The minimum wage has increased by nearly 11%, but the government has promised to limit future increases.
The general unemployment rates remain very low and stable at 3.1%, but the youth unemployment rate is much higher. The Moon administration has also reduced the share of non-regular jobs. Tax is low, the overall tax base is narrow, and the redistributive effects are weak. During the review period, the government had a primary surplus of nearly 2% of GDP, and the national level public debt is moderate and manageable, but an increasing number of local governments and public enterprises are failing due to a lack of revenue. The amount of money spent on research and development is enormous.